Welcome to the video for chapter 37 of the Cambridge Introduction to Sanskrit, which is going to tell you about numerals. Numerals are words for numbers. We distinguish between cardinal numerals, that is words such as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, and ordinal numerals or ordinal numbers, for example, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on. Unlike in English, Sanskrit numerals have more than one form. The words for 1, 2, 3, and 4 are adjectives and therefore have different forms not just for the different cases, but also for the different genders, masculine, feminine, and neuter. From 5 to 10, the numerals behave like nouns, and that means they have different forms for the different cases, but they just have one gender, so they have the same form regardless of the gender of the word that they qualify, that they describe. We've already seen the word for one, which is eka. It was introduced in chapter 22. It appears in all three numbers, but in the dual and plural, we cannot translate it as one. We have to translate it as ones or some, a few. 2 has forms only in the dual. From 3 up, we have only plural forms. The citation forms that you'll find for these numerals, eka, dwi, tri, and so on, are the stem forms that are used inside compounds. So, for example, on the basis of dwi, we get words such as dvipad, i.e. a biped, something that is two-footed, trilochana, meaning three-eyed, and so on. So let's look at some of these cardinal numbers. We don't have the form for 1 here, eka, because that was introduced in chapter 22. It declines just like a pronoun. Then dwi, meaning 2, exists only in the dual, and again has forms just like those of sachtad, so just like those of a pronoun. We have dwau, dwabhyam, dwayoch in the masculine, and dwe, dwabhyam, dwayoch for the neuter and feminine. Then tri, meaning 3, has one stem for masculine and neuter and another stem for the feminine. The stem for masculine and neuter basically is a short I stem, so declining like agni in the masculine and wari in the neuter. And so for the masculine we find triach, trin, tribich, tribyach, and the locative plural trishu, but notice we get this perhaps unexpected form in the genitive, namely trianam. Not perhaps trinam or something like that that we might expect, but trianam. Then in the neuter, we have the nominative, vocative, accusative trini, so just parallel to warini, and then the rest of the paradigm continues like the masculine. In the feminine, we have a different stem, which basically is an R stem, and the forms that we get are tisrach, tisrbich, tisrbyach, tisernam, and tissershu. So as long as you're able to recognize the stem, you should be able to recognize all the individual case forms. Then of chatur, 4, we again have one stem for masculine and neuter and another stem for the feminine. And again, we only have forms for the plural. In the masculine, we get chatwarach, chaturach, chaturbich, chaturbyach, chaturbyach, chaturnam, and chaturshu. Apart from maybe the nominative vocative, chatwarach, all very easily recognizable. So make sure you remember chatwarach with the strong form of the stem. The rest of the stem, the rest of the paradigm has the weak form of the stem, namely chatur. Then in the neuter, we have the nominative vocative accusative chatwari. So basically long vowel, stem final consonant, and e. So vaguely similar at least to other neuters that we've seen. Perhaps difficult to recognize, so perhaps also make sure to memorize this. And then in the feminine, we again have an R stem, and that appears as chatasrach, chatasserbich, chatasserbyach, chatassernam, and chatassershu. Again, as long as you're able to recognize the stem, recognizing the cases should be very straightforward. Then the numerals for 5 to 10. These are basically parallel in their declension. They have an endingless form for the nominative, vocative, accusative, and then very easily recognizable endings from the instrumental onwards. So, for example, if we look at the forms for 5, the stem of that is pancha, and that's also the form for nominative, vocative, and accusative. No ending is added. And then from the instrumental on, we continue to panchabich, panchabhyach, panchabhyach, panchanam, and panchasu, so all easily recognizable. 2 numerals are a little tricky, perhaps. The first of these is shash, meaning 6, and that's a little tricky because of its internal sandhi. We just don't have many stems that end in retroflex sh, and so we're just not used to this. What we get is in the nominative, vocative, accusative, the sh turning into t, so we get shat. Then in front of a voiced stop, this sh changes into d, so we get shad bhich and shad bhyach. In front of the nasal n, the sh also appears as a nasal, so we get shannam. Notice that both of the nasals here, both of the n's are retroflex, so shannam. And then finally, in front of an unvoiced consonant, namely in front of su, the sh appears as the unvoiced consonant t, so we get shat su. Sapta is completely parallel to what we find in Pancha. Ashta has forms that are completely parallel to those of Pancha, but then there's also an alternative paradigm where we have a nominative singular ashtau, and the rest of the paradigm using a stem that ends in long a. Not short a, but long a, so we get ashtabich, ashtabhyach, ashtanam, and ashtasu. Then nawa, 9, again is parallel to Pancha, and dasha, meaning 10, again parallel in its forms to Pancha. Then our ordinal numbers, that's the terms referring to the order of a number, so first, second, third, and so on. In Sanskrit, these are all adjectives that in the masculine and neuter are short a stems, but in the feminines they are long a stems in first, second, and third, and from fourth up they are long I stems. So for example, pratama means first, would in the masculine be pratamach, feminine pratama, neuter pratamam. Shashta, on the other hand, meaning sixth, would be shashtach for the masculine, shashti for the feminine, and shashtam for the neuter. What you should do on your own is look over the tables that are provided in the chapter, but memorize the stem and nominative or nominatives of all the cardinals, and memorize the stem of all the ordinals. So basically treat all these numerals as new vocabulary items, and you should be just fine. That was it for this chapter. We hope that you found this video helpful. And if you have any comments or suggestions, we would love to hear from you. Please do write to us at rupal@cambridge-sanskrit.org. And now, for your own work on this material, good luck and have fun!